jamming out to that music.
That was so cool.
Hey, everybody, I'm Lorraine Malloy. That's Jess, and welcome
Hi.
to Delphin Talk Show. We have a very special episode for you today, a 101 of Paranormal. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
We're super pumped, and we're glad you're with us. Before we do even introductions, may I just remind everybody to like the page, to turn on those notifications so when we go live, you get to be with us. Please make sure you give StreamYard permission to use your name. I swear it's safe. It's just so that they don't get in trouble when you comment something live on screen and I say something. Don't worry about that. So now make sure you share the video so that our fantastic guests can be shared to the world and everyone. Yes, I'm a weirdo and it's fantastic. But we have two fantastic guests that deserve a solo layout. So
Hi, guys.
Hi, David. Hi, Ernie. How are you guys?
Hello. How you doing?
Good. Oh, we already have somebody. Hey, Dakota. He says, hey, guys.
Hi, Dakota.
Dakota.
So I'm so glad to have you guys with us. Oh, we got another person. John says, hey, gang.
That's the best cameraman on the planet.
Yeah.
John McGinnis. Now, guys,
He's
just remember, it's also
John.
going to be an audio show. So if I'm saying the comments on screen, it's not because I think you can't read. It's so that the audio people listening don't miss out on hearing your comments as well, all right? So make sure you share the page, put some likes, put some loves, share and share alike, and let's move on. All right, Ernie, David, thank you so much for coming on the show because I know that there's a lot of discrepancy about beginners, newbies, you know, all us novices who love the idea of going on paranormal investigations, but have no freaking clue how to even start it right without going, oh shit, I wish I knew that. So thank you for coming on the show because I feel like this will help not only me and maybe Jess when we do our own thing, because you know I'm going to want to, but everybody who's listening will have a basis from professionals who can say, this is what we feel works for you guys, and then at least it's something that we can trust and something to start off with, even if we go from there. So
Right.
let's start off with, how long have you both been in the paranormal industry?
You want to start?
Well, I was born October 30th. I'm 53 now. So I've been doing paranormal literally my entire life. Now, I got into it professionally. I was that guy who would always break into the places and go where you're not supposed to go when you're not supposed to go there.
That's
Did that
awesome.
for many a years, and I saw some really freaky, creepy stuff. And about 6 years ago now, about 6 years ago, I went on a trip with my now ex-wife to New Orleans, and I came home with some really wicked, wild stories and evidence. And my buddy Ernie, who is a cop, I used to be a cop, so we were going to a karate dojo. We talked at the dojo, never really outside. I came back and said, dude, you've got to check this picture out. And he's like, dude, I'm about to blow your mind. And I'm like, okay, blow my mind. And he told me about the paranormal group he was with at the time. And I'm like, what? And he goes, we're looking for a new member. I'm like, what? And you want to go? And I'm like, hey. So geeked out on that.
If I would have only missed karate class that day.
So been doing it all my life, but professionally for about 6 years now, and loving every minute of it. And then, we kind of about a couple years into that, Ernie decided he wanted to go solo. Well, I told him if he's going solo, I'm coming with him.
Nice.
I would say that to Jess. I would be like, no. I'm coming with you.
Yes.
Solo, but two.
Let's do it.
Dakota
Yeah.
actually said, haven't we all broken into a place we weren't supposed to when we were
Yes.
younger?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Some of those are the best. I lost my favorite pair of UFO pants running away from the cops after one of those places. I got caught on barbed wire and just hanging there off the back seat of my pants until the back seat of my pants ribs. Thanks God I had boxer shorts under there. It was the one time in my life I was like, yes. And so the back half of my pants are still hanging on the barbed wire as I'm running, going, I can feel the wind move. And I was like,
Got a draft in the barnyard.
I had such a trap. By the way, after that, I had to go home and try to explain to my dear mother how come these very expensive pants have. The story was not the truth. Once I turned like
UFO.
22, I was like,
Dog,
"Somehow,
I
remember that
swear.
stuff?"
A dog came out of nowhere.
Yeah, took my
Well, I
pants
had
right
those
off.
stories, but she wouldn't believe those. She saw those pants. Like all of a sudden, I had a pit bull like got lost, and people had been messing with it. It's a true story. It was one of those houses they had to shut down, and it ran. But it was so freaked out, it started ripping on my pants. But I had those Jankos, the heavy jean ones, so it
Yes.
ripped the thing. But it was all teeth marks. So I just you have to do like a shin kick to not kick, but like a push against the chest plate with some of them, and it's okay. So I did like a knee, and I was like, sit down, and the thing sat down. I'm like, all right, we're going to bring you someplace safe, I swear. So we did. And it was weird because I had this dog that was almost in my face, and he's on my passenger seat, and I had seatbelted him in. I was like, my mom's going to be so mad about my pants, but I can't leave you here. It worked out. She's just like, you saved the dog from scary people. I'm like, it came running at me, but that's why the pants. She's like, this is better than the UFO story, pants story. At least this one feels better. I was like, because this was the truth.
Yeah.
Jerry says hello all. Thank you, Jerry, for joining in. Oh, we have another one. Nocturum. I'm sorry, I don't know if I said that right. He said hi, guys. I hope
Hey.
Hello.
I am sorry about anybody's pronouns. If I misspeak, please correct me because I do not mean any disrespect, but it's such a tiny circle for me to see, so sometimes it's difficult. I believe Nocturum said, are you interested in paranormal events in Mexico or only USA?
Oh.
Yeah. In the entire globe.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Right.
I want to be Carmen San Diego. I want to know it all.
Where
Amen.
in the world
World
is
is Carmen. All right.
Diego?
So Nocturum, if I'm saying that right, I hope so. If you have stories about that or those kinds of things, you feel free to either comment or message the page. Let us know. We could always have you on the show depending on what's going on in your world and what you do. I like having people come on from everywhere. My only thing is I only speak English. I'm sorry, but that's all I got.
Yeah, I don't think Espanol.
Poquito.
I'm not going to say it probably, but that's the Lady of the Lake, right? Where I love that story and that myth and that legend, by the way. We will come back to that, so keep that in mind, but I don't want to miss out on our Paranormal 101, so no matter what, make sure you like the page and come back to our next session, and we can always talk about that more. So Ernie and David, what would you say is the very first thing that somebody should make sure they have with them and bring with them if they're going to even try to do a paranormal investigation?
Before you go there, I'm going to tell people, look, the things you see on TV are things for TV.
Right.
Everything is not a damn demon. Everything is not going to possess you. When you hear something, see something, say something in an investigation. Don't be terrified of it. You're ghost hunting.
And keep,
I love Ernie's face as he was watching David say that. He was like, go ahead.
keep in mind, some of these cases we've been on, we might go to a residence and we might be there 8 hours, 12 hours,
or several days,
and actually have to go back,
Yes.
for another day. And, out of, let's just say 16 hours of evidence review,
Mhm.
we might come up with
4 minutes.
if that, so, you have to keep in mind when you're watching a lot of the shows, I mean, sure, the evidence is absolutely legit most of the time, but, they have to condense that into 46 minutes.
Yep.
But, you don't realize that
They've been there for a week.
24 hour. Yeah.
They've been there for a week.
And the thing is, Dave and I, if we, say we were to come to investigate your house, we might run between 4 to 8 cameras. Each camera is going to have audio, so that means we have to sit and watch each camera for 16 hours, then the next one for 16 hours,
So 16 times 8 if we run
so
8 of them.
It's a lot that goes into the review of that.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yep. So what would we bring? Basics. Number one, first and foremost, is a tape recorder. And you have them on your phone. You have them, you have.
What is that?
That is actually a recorder. It can actually pick up a bug farting. It's a $300 tape recorder.
What's it called? Because anybody that's listening, not watching, would like to know. I'm sure.
This is a Tascam.
It's made by Tascam, but it's called a 360 recorder,
and it's a DR44WL. I got mine at Gettysburg Ghost Exchange for Pam and Steve. They're not bad priced, but literally,
Can they get them on Amazon or something? Also,
you can get them on Amazon.
Yeah.
Just look up a Tascam model DR-44WL.
Wonderful.
They have a memory card with it that you can stick in them, and these will run for about 8 hours.
Oh, wonderful.
We were downstairs at the Wax Museum in Gettysburg. I put this on the stairs, and Ernie and Lori Johnson were like, maybe 30 yards away talking. I picked them up talking and whispering, but in the same process, all of a sudden Lori goes, something just pulled my hair. When I played back, you could hear a little child going, Lori. And then you hear on the tape, something just pulled my hair. So these are really good, but it's a 360, so it can get everywhere around you.
And you know what else is nice? You can actually buy a voice recorder it looks just like a flash drive.
Ooh.
All you do is open it up, you hit the little button on the side, okay? When you're done recording, turn it off, and then when you get home, you just plug it into your computer and it all downloads.
Oh my God, I love that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, you can carry that around in your pocket. We even have it looks like a Fitbit.
Yep.
But it's a voice recorder.
Oh wow!
You always have one on you all the time.
Yep.
Oh, that can have some very awkward moments though, but that's really cool.
But if in doubt that you can get an app for your phone if you don't already have it.
Loren, to be honest with you, Dave and I have like 1,000,001 different recorders from different companies that do different things. And, through the years of all these investigations, I find that your standard voice recorder that is on your cell phone is actually it's more sensitive.
Yeah.
And, if we're sitting right now and I turn this on and I capture something, it's so much easier. I can just send it right to you, email, messenger, text, and you don't have to involve a computer.
Yep.
It's true. When I was at a abandoned psych ward last year, it's the best way I could put it out. It was my house. I knocked on the door. No, I want to be careful because you're not really supposed to go there, so I'm being careful. But I went with a friend of mine, Killboy, and we were taking video and audio with my iPhone. And, it's whatever the last basic one was. I'm nothing fancy. But I literally had something be like, hey, but not loud. Like, the whisper they do, like, hey, while it pulled his sleeve. So you sort of like the sleeve move because he's a big motherfucking dude. So when his sleeve moves, it's like, and you're like, okay. And he goes, oh, something just pulled my sleeve. So like when we played it back, it's my regular iPhone. It would have been the same if it was his Samsung. But like it was that moment of like, I heard it, and then you see his just, especially to have a nickname like Killboy where nothing moves and all. And I was like, yes, I caught it because it was that moment of him moving. I'm like, I got to track that at least. I was trying to practice, and then just.
I actually had a spirit, and we caught it on camera and on audio. Kept trying to pull my pants down as an investigation, and it was funny because I kept complaining about it to the group I was with, and I was leading it. And at one point, we went into a room, and this one lady said, "Dave, don't move." And you had to see my pocket come out, and it started to pull down, and she was recording. When we played it back, you could hear a child giggling like they're laughing.
Absolutely.
That was such an incredible piece of evidence because the first thing you want to do in a situation like that, because you're in the dark, you want to make sure you didn't get snagged or, if you're carrying a bag, it didn't pull as you move.
Wasn't a wire hanging down.
You can clearly see Dave.
Not moving.
His butt was away from the wall, so it was all open space, and all you see is just those pants
come out and then go like this.
Oh,
and you see where it's tugging on my belt, and you can see it coming down. I'm like, it's pulling down, and she starts filming it, and you see my pocket going out and down.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yep. See, and then you heard a kid giggling. That was the creepy part.
That's so awesome. All right, so would you say a flashlight is also truly necessary? But it's on your iPhone or your Android anyway. So
I have a flashlight that I got in my pocket right now. I actually use it at work. It's like this big, and it's low beam and high beam, and it's rechargeable, and it's amazing. But I tell you what I like to do is, when you first go into wherever you're investigating or whatever, you get a sense of the place. But I like to keep it as dark as possible because that way your eyes adjust.
Your night vision.
You get used to your environment,
Mhm.
and it's so much easier to determine whether you see something or not than, if you got to figure, if you're in a building or a house for 6 hours, now all of a sudden you decide, hey, we're going to walk around with a light.
Oh,
It
God.
really screws you up.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I'm like a hobbit. I hide in the dark. The only reason there's lights on right now is so that y'all could see me. Otherwise, Jess knows the minute the show's over, I'm like, hold on, I turn all the lights off. I'm like, hello. Like,
That's like
my brain
that's
hurts.
like
My eyes don't do well.
when I'm home at night, like I'm even when I'm off, I'm up all night. But like my wife will go to bed and my dog's asleep and I'm walking around the house. I look like a burglar. I'm just walking around with my little flashlight on.
For Christmas, you got me a little clip-on light that when you actually hit the button, it has a little fold-out where it goes in front of you. But it's like it makes it look like right now in the studio, it's that bright.
Oh, I like that.
Oh yeah, me like
for like emergency.
I actually bought myself one of them. I bought myself one of them for work. I keep it clipped on my shirt.
Yep.
Because then that way, like if I'm checking
And
a license or
pens.
something, I just turn it on and I hold it
Yep.
right here. I don't have to
I
And then
get
the
used to-
person's like, oh shit, he's fancy, yo. Like, uh-oh.
go around with a miner's light on, like, and you clip it. In, now I just click.
That is awesome. I would do the minors like just to fuck with people, but then migraines and then fighting. So all right. So the voice recorder, and then what else would you say is stuff that you think you definitely need on investigation besides like
Dave, I think what makes Dave and I click is we have two different styles of investigating. Dave is a definite tech guru and he loves all the fancy toys and technology.
We have all that right here to show later.
But I like what I label old school investigating. I mean, you can give me
What is that?
This is a old school investigation.
Okay, that's a yes/no thing. It's all white and black and gray.
And all you
and
do
yes
is
or
you
no?
put pencils on top like this. You balance the top one on the bottom one, and you can actually ask a spirit to move it, and it'll move it.
Oh, like a dowsing rod with pencils and yes and no.
Exactly. You set it down,
Wow.
and that's
the
an
first
old
time I've ever seen that. That's the
When
first
you-
time I've ever seen that. That's fucking
when you align the pencils, you put one on top, but you have to make sure it's not hitting the floor, that it's
right. You
completely
just balance it.
for
but
sure. That's
the thing
awesome.
is, you could give me a digital camera and a voice recorder, and I mean, I'm good to go.
He likes the old school, just literally the candles, and you put glass over it.
Ooh, I like
To
that.
watch,
That sounds fun.
see if you can make it move the flames.
Wait. Explain to everybody that one again, because just because some of us know, remember, we're doing a 101. So
Yeah,
don't fancy shit without explanation.
Okay. At the Dollar Tree, they sell these little glass things that have those small candles in it. They're like for the
Tea light
warmers.
candles? Tea light
And
voltage
you-
candle holders?
You put it in, you light it, and you put it down in the glass. So you're not getting interference from air.
Okay.
And you
Yeah.
put it down and you ask if there's a spirit here, can you manipulate this flame? Can you make it lean to the left or right to let me know? And then you can say, go to the left for yes, go to the right for no.
Ooh, I love it.
Now,
God,
And it's $1 for the setup.
when we first get to a location,
Call
before we
Ghostbusters and say fuck off. I got this, right? Okay, go ahead.
before we try to make any establish any type of communication, you got to get a read of the environment,
Right.
and that's what this K2 does.
This is called a K2. What it is this is not a ghost hunting piece of equipment.
Wait, it's a little black device that has a whole scale, looks like from like different
Yep, and
colors.
you'll see it
and
doing
it goes
this.
back and forth. Okay.
And how you get to do that is you keep hitting the button. But if you actually turn it on, watch on the shows. If their finger's right here, they're hitting the button.
Thank
if
you.
they're
I
holding it
love
like
that.
that, they're not.
Awesome.
So at this point, I would say if you're here, can you make these lights go up?
It went up.
The
It went up. It went up. Fuck yes. Fuck yes.
do that
Do it.
again.
I'll do it.
Do it again.
Uh,
If you're
Okay,
here,
wait.
make the lights go. If you're in their room, if you're in David and Ernie's room, make the
I do
lights
have
go.
some things here. I really do. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's not doing it.
Well, now because we called it out, it's like, oh shit, they got
it's like, oh, did I do something wrong?
No, you
So-
did something right. We love you. Come back.
We love you, whoever did that. So anyway, what you do is we walk across the house. This actually registers what's called milligauss. So it's an electrician's tool to see if there's electrical leaks. So if you have it on, and you're sitting here saying, "Hey, are you here?" or you're just walking around, and all of a sudden you get a big spike like we just did. It's very possible that there's something here. And if you look, I'm moving around. There's nothing here that may.
Yeah, it's not doing anything since, guys. You'd know if it did because I got loud last time. So
that
you'll
was
know
pretty cool, though.
That was
You have
fucking
to-
epic.
Oh, it's out of window again. It did it again.
Look at my face, motherfucker.
Ah!
It's
I
not
think I
much-
pulled my back out getting excited.
Not my speaker.
It's not the mic, no.
No,
Is it me?
Is it
Is
mine?
it me you're looking for?
There's no. Wait a minute. All right, let's do this. I'm going to be real steady. Here's my hands. If somebody's, or put your hands up, so that way the people see it's not us doing. If you're here, can you do that again? That's pretty cool.
Please.
And you can see our hands don't. Your
hands
body
don't make it
it.
go off. And there's nothing here on
Please
the
do it
screen.
again. You'd make me happy and smile.
Do that again for me. That's really cool.
That would be amazing. Do it
Now,
again.
see that for
Oh, you're
those
one
that,
of those. It's one of
For
those.
those-
couples.
for those that saw that spike, keep this in mind. Based on each residence that you may be getting ready to investigate, some may have older wiring or copper pipes
Or even the pigtail
faulty,
bulbs. The
faulty
pigtail,
wiring, which you're going to get a different reading
it just went off again.
on
I
each.
did. Did you see my face? I was like,
I am
Alright.
Put your hand
solid
over again.
ice on this side of my fucking room right now.
Yeah, your
Oh my
body's not going to make that go
That's
off.
really.
Could something go through the phone?
yes.
And
that's
my
why so
phone's
many
all-
people
my
say,
phone's
I
all-
don't want to share
If you
this.
do get a phone too close, absolutely. So it picks up electrical leaks or
So
electrical.
bring it to your camera, bring it to the microphone, bring it all the way close. That way we make
See?
sure. Okay, there's no register. Bring it all the way lower to your other stuff you got down there. See if it's just fuckery. All right, so you got a thing in there and it wants to just be a little bit of a cocksucker. It's cool.
Yeah.
You know, you
That's
could
really
just pay attention and we'd be thrilled versus,
Now-
you know.
Let me clear this up. I'm gonna turn this off for now so I can explain. When you go into a house and you say, "Okay, I'm gonna do a baseline reading before we start investigating,"
Yeah.
you start going around the house. This starts spiking. That does not mean
There's a ghost.
there's a ghost or there's. That just means you need to check the wiring first before you get started. And
One of
you
the
have-
houses we went
And you
to.
have different tools like this,
So
which
step
will
finder.
give you an actual digital reading, so
Right.
you can
We'll explain that in a
determine
minute.
where your baseline to where you start. Because from that point, you know, if you get a baseline, say we're in a house with some screwed up whatever, and we get a baseline 0.02.
I
and
wouldn't know
what-
that's gonna bad. How, what's
Well,
what?
well,
what's
what I'm saying is we go through the whole house and it's a 0.02 baseline
That means that the whole house is a
I see.
normalization
Okay.
at a point two.
at 0.02. So now if we're investigating and all of a sudden it jumps up to 1.2, then
Yeah.
we're like, oh shoot, this might be legit.
Okay.
You know, but that's the purpose of getting that electrical reading to establish where your baseline is. So from that point, then you can tell if it's extra energy.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
Now,
And we'll explain what the other device is in just a minute. So we're going basic
me,
first.
me personally,
No
I
worries,
like
because we can't see any of the devices. We see from your like shirt shoulders up. I almost said down. That was weird.
me personally, I mean, there's so many different gadgets and gadgets out there to go ghost
And
hunting.
some thingamabobbers
But-
and doodads, oh my.
I like my personal preference is I like using things that have a sole purpose other than, hey, I built this contraption to find a ghost.
Right.
You know,
Or
for,
the apps. Oh,
like for example, this camera here is a FLIR camera.
yep. Let me
What does
pop
that
that
mean?
on. All right.
That is the same technology that a police helicopter uses to find people.
Forward-looking
Oh, wow.
infrared radar, FLIR.
Right.
Nice.
Can we explain this mechanism so I learn how to hide better?
All right. So what this does
Sensitive
is it picks up heat signatures outright.
Okay.
And it's still coming on. I can see it in your camera. As soon as it comes on, I'll show you what it does, and I'll aim it at him and him. But
Oh, there it is.
let's go closer. All right. So
Oh,
Yo, your
there's
eyes look
me.
freaky. Glasses, that's epic.
there's Ernie, and if you look behind me, it's cold. But the
Right.
hotter
Yeah.
it gets, the whiter it gets. So you got your
Yes.
green, you got your blues, and look at my glasses. So they're
That's
cooler.
awesome.
But if I took them off, see the difference?
Ah, that's cool.
So what happens is now helicopters use this as the police department to actually find you.
dang.
Now, one of the interesting things
I
about
need a
this is
freezer.
I got this camera from a friend of mine, Melody Brook. and Ray Shade. So I got it from Ray. Got it from real cheap. He didn't really like it, so he sold it to me. We went to a house in Gettysburg called the Haunted Trails. And I took a picture of this house. I'm looking at the guy's house, and he has the trails over here to the left, his house to the right. You could clearly see his house. You could see something diagonal leaning from the house, something flat against the house, and something straight up and down in the back that are hot. I'm like, okay, what are these items? House. What's that thing this way? Well, it's a gravestone that was leaning against his house that he found out in the woods, and it absorbed the heat from the sun. Okay. Just beyond that is a flat item. What is that? That's a septic system. Okay. Walking back, there's this straight object, and behind it is dark as dark's going to get. As we get closer to it, we realize it's a tree. Huh?
Tree is hot?
One single tree, and there's trees. It's the Haunted Trails.
Yeah, it looked like a forest.
It's a forest right there with it.
We found Mother Oak.
So it was one tree really hot. So we started investigating this tree. Like, why is this tree burning hot? So we actually had two of our friends walk up and become tree huggers. And you watch all the energy go from the tree into the people. They let it go, and it goes back into. Now,
what does that mean?
No good stuff.
We're trying to figure out.
What we're trying to figure out.
Because I even contacted an arborist, and he asked me, how old's the tree? What type of tree? What's the land like? Where's it at?
Tree?
Yeah, everything. And
it's a live tree.
He actually told me, he's like, I've been, an arborist for 40 years or whatever. He goes, I've never seen this before. He goes, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. He can't explain it.
So could it be the tree that people died against, so the blood absorbed, and that's why that tree's haunted?
It's possible. Now, we actually had a psychic medium tell us that there was a squaw and her papoose that actually are buried under the tree.
What is that?
An Indian mother and the baby buried underneath.
Oh, my goodness.
Now,
did anybody scan for bodies, or are we just deciding that's the truth?
Nope.
Now,
because that's a big one to do. Like, beep, 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 nobody, or beep, 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 beep. Oh, my God, unbury this.
Staying on the topic of this camera, a few years back when we were setting up to film World's Largest Ghost Hunt, and we were at a farm in Gettysburg, and I was with Steve Berry, and Dave was inside. And I was walking out. We were checking because we had cameras set in the field as well.
Good.
Steve and I were walking along in the field, and I was using my FLIR camera.
He has a handheld version.
I have a handheld version. It looks like a digital thermometer.
Oh, nice.
And it's really nice because
I would use it out my car window to freak with people. Just got you. Nope.
So we were walking across a field, and I was following the wire lines that make sure the cameras are right. Well, we pick up an image on my camera, and Steve noticed it, and he says, hey, what is that? So I don't know. It looks like it could be a tree. So we walk to the next tree, but the image is still out in front. So we're approaching, it's a wood line. Okay, we're in a big field, and then there's a wood line. As we approach the wood line, it's starting to come into shape as a person. Okay, now we're probably about not even 100 feet, and there's no one at the wood line, but we're picking up a person on this FLIR camera. So as we're walking toward it, we stop for a moment, and Steve just said hi or hello. Could you tell us hello? And this figure went like this and put his hand up.
Wow.
Put his hand back down. We continued walking, but when we got within like 30 feet of that wood line, it just went away. But the good thing is I got his picture, because what you do when it pops up in the camera, you squeeze the little trigger on it, and it locks the picture, and you can save it.
That's awesome. Like that? That's freaking awesome.
Does it only work at night, or can I do that with the daytime? See, I have such bad ideas with the thing.
Yeah, you can use it anytime.
I'm such a bad person in the back of my head. All right, Naughty Loren is gone. I'm back. That is really cool. I'm so sorry. I love all these new contraptions.
I love it.
We still got more here to play with.
Okay, so that boggles my mind that it kind of just disappears. And I would love for you guys to go back to the tree and go beep, 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 beep. Especially, I bet you could get one of those detectors with, I mean, you don't need a cadaver dog. You just need the boop, 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 check for a body under the tree thing.
Well,
See, there is a papoose.
We've actually reproduced this now 4 times. It's reproducible. Yep.
Know what that means.
Winter and summer, it's reproducible, which is
they keep from the tree no matter what, you mean?
Oh my!
Yep. And as soon as you touch it, you can actually. We've had other people touch it. You can see the energy go, literally draining down into them, and when they let go, it goes back up.
Is it hot to the touch?
No.
When they're touching the tree, or they're having like reactions, emotional
It's just
things,
when
or anything? Because like that's a scary thing to just touch and not know what you're touching.
You'll put the FLIR camera on the woods, and the trees
You can
are
see
just
all the trees behind
nice and cool, and it's just that one tree is burning red. And if you go up and touch it, you'll see that red leave that tree and come right up.
That's incredible.
The tree turns like a dark blue at that point, and now your arm is going white and red. And when you let go, it goes right back in.
It's from Fern Gully. It's that
Did
moment where like, can't you feel the trees pain?
Did anything happen to the people who hugged it?
No.
I got a photo. I got a photo a friend of mine took. The Haunted Trails contacted Dave and I for their grand opening if we would host it. Ooh. So I spoke for a little while, and then Dave was doing his thing with the equipment. So I had a friend of mine that came up from West Virginia to see us and, listen to us speak. So my friend says, hey, while Dave's talking, let's you and I go out and check these trails out because we've never been there. Right. Now, my friend took a picture of that tree. Now, on a regular picture, it doesn't appear hot. Just on the FLIR camera, it does. Sure. Now, when she took a picture of the tree, she captured a really interesting light anomaly in front of the tree, like it was swishing down. So she stops and says, hey, take a look at this. Do you think it's anything? Now, I was looking at the photo, but I told her, I always say you got to enlarge the photo and look around at everything. Well, that photo captured what appeared to be a little girl peeking around the tree at us.
What?
And I went back. We immediately went back to the tree, snapped more photos, and it wasn't there on the other photos.
That's because it's in your room now. Sorry.
Yeah, and it was nothing around the tree that would give the image that it was a little girl. But it was a little girl. It looked like she was in a dress and had long, like, brown hair, just peeking around the tree.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Aww. Okay, so let's get to, because I'm so excited. I need to see some of this amazing equipment that you have been cock teasing us about, David. So I got to use a word. I'm so naughty. Okay, so show us something cool.
Okay, you guys have seen this on pretty much every paranormal show.
Wait. There we go.
It's called a REM pod. All right, and what it does is there's a little switch underneath that you go beep, beep, and it turns on. And what it does, I'm going to send it here.
Antenna. There's a tall antenna. It's a circular pod with a few lights on top that can go off. And just an antenna from radios from the 90s, 80s.
Yep, let me see if I can reset. I'm too close to it.
That might not be able to be on too long.
Yep, there you go. All right, so what it does is there's 5 lights on top. When you break the energy field that the antenna produces from the battery that's underneath, one light will go off. The closer you get to it, more lights will go off. And finally, if you actually something touches it, the center light will go off and it squeals like a pig.
When you turn it on, it puts like a barrier around it.
Right.
So if anything breaks that barrier, it'll start.
How far is the barrier? First of all, Robin Cummings says you guys are great. Thank you for watching. Please share also. So
here's the antenna. Wait a minute. Here's the antenna, and I get closer to it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little difficult on this side to see how far away your hand is, just so you know. Yeah. So left or right of the screen, not front or back.
All right. So let's do this.
So like an inch away, maybe, is where it starts.
Right there.
2 inches. I don't know.
That's light 2, light 3, light 4, and light 5.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So it's like DEF CON. The closer you get, go ahead.
Yeah, the closer you get. But the thing is, with this device, we can't hold it to demonstrate
because you're too close already.
Yeah, it'll.
So you have to set it down. So and these are about $208 on a lot of the things. They have detachable antennas, and they also have reset switches. So if you happen to hit something, because they also have a thermal detector for hot and cold. So if the temperature goes up suddenly or down suddenly, it'll set off a thermal alarm as well.
Oh, wow. A thermal alarm, meaning the same sound?
It'll actually make a little bit higher pitched sound. And it's almost like a squeak, real high squeak sound.
Would you say you would usually leave that in a separate room and not be in the room to make
Well, you
sure?
don't. Yeah, you can. I mean, you can be in the room with it, just away from
Right,
it.
you need to be at least 12
Or
inches
you
away
can
from
put it in another room because you're going to hear it.
Okay.
So what it's for is basically, it's not to really communicate with, it's to say, if you're here and you touch that, it'll let me know you're here.
Oh, kind of
And-
like the candle thing with the
Correct.
yes and no?
Correct. So that's your newer school technique. Now,
Cool.
we've actually been fortunate enough to run into an entity that actually communicated with us through it.
Oh my
Like
God,
we would ask questions, and if it was a yes question, it would
go off.
it would activate.
And if you
That's
check
epic.
our YouTube channel out, look for Paranormal Inc. and step into the paranormal on YouTube. So if you go to www.paranormalinc.net, our YouTube channel's there. At Haldeman Mansion, we've got it like a 14-minute video
What
of
mansion?
Haldeman in Bainbridge, Pennsylvania.
Cool. Okay.
So, and whatever it was, we were up in the attic, which has no electricity up there. We had a couple guests with us, and during the process, the temperature, and this is actually a temperature, it's a thermometer, so I can actually zap you. Let me see if I can actually hit the lens with it.
I was like, ah! Oh, red light.
And it'll actually tell me the temperature.
Oh, wow. I got 73 degrees.
Now, the good thing with this is what you want to do, like we just explained about getting an electrical baseline reading.
Yeah.
It's very important that you get a temperature reading of where you're investigating as well, because the theory is, and I'm sure everyone knows this, if something's trying to manifest, it's going to draw the energy from the air, which is going to cause a temperature change.
And you'll
Like
get a
Jess
temperature.
was saying, our whole side got cold. By the way, Jess,
Yeah.
if you have any questions, jump out and
Okay.
don't let it just be me, all right?
In this video, you'll actually hear everybody talking and the REM pods going off. And every time we hit yes, it goes off. But then all of a sudden, everybody's like, man, it's getting cold in here. Dude, it's getting cold. We started with a baseline of 53 degrees on the temperature. It went down to 31 degrees inside of about 3 minutes. And you can actually see your breath coming out as you talk.
But the thing is, we were hosting a public investigation, so we had a bunch of people crammed in the
20
attic.
people in the attic.
So it should have, the temperature should have
Should've
rose.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, for those of you that watch,
Ghosts.
you know, all the ghost
Any
shows,
ghost yeah.
Mike King from Ghosts of Shepherdstown, he travels with us a lot.
Okay.
He was at the far end of the attic, just sitting in a chair,
In the doorway.
and he couldn't hear what we were doing. Well, he yelled, "Hey, it's getting cold!" You know, that's how he.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the funny thing is, we believe we established communication with something for about 20 minutes. Now, several pieces of our equipment was going off.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden it stopped, and
The
we could
temperature just-
feel the temperature rise. But the funny thing, Mike is on the other end of the attic, and Mike yells, "Hey, it's gone."
It just went by me.
He felt it go like that. Yeah,
The
Oh
whoosh.
my
go
God.
by him. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And Mike, for those of you that have investigated or been to any of our events, and Mike was with it, you know that Mike is the biggest skeptic in the world.
Yep,
and for
absolutely.
him to say that he felt something or something wasn't right, that's pretty credible coming from him.
Yep.
That's why it's great to have somebody like that. Anytime I have somebody with me on anything like that, even if it's just an abandoned property, I always bring somebody, one
Yeah.
that usually looks menacing so that I don't have to prove myself and then be like, this is why you're bleeding. But also to have a skeptic with you and have them be like, is so phenomenal, because like it's not going, no, I felt something. It's like he freaked out, like
Yeah.
or he reacted, or did you see it? Any of that stuff? It helps, even if you don't get something, let's say on camera or audio, to have a skeptic get excited or give a comment like that. It
It's
gives
amazing.
such a validity to it, at least as an individual working on it. Even if outsiders don't want to take credibility with it, at least you could go, that had to have happened because that motherfucker wouldn't have said that. That would be like me saying something. I'm not lying. I can't stop this face. I'm like, oh.
Let Dave's going to explain. This is a good gadget right here.
All right, this is a Mel meter, which is a combination.
Wait, bring it closer to the camera again, so I can do the. There you go. That way everyone can see you guys.
All right, and this has an antenna with it as well, and it actually has a temperature probe with it.
Ooh,
This is a combination of this, and that.
Okay, name the devices again. Name the three of them. Just pictures.
So this has a combination of the REM pod, which has you're getting close to it, temperature,
okay,
and it has the K2 as well.
Excellent.
So what it does is it's all three combined into one.
And that's called a Mel
Mel meter.
Mel meter. Sorry. Okay, cool.
Because it measures milligauss. So
milligauss and milligauss, correct.
And what
So
is that? That's electrical frequencies coming through, because that's not watts. That's the one I'm used to hearing.
Correct.
I know that's not the
Milligauss
same.
is the actual. It's the how an actual electrical energy signature is metered.
Okay.
So it starts with milli, then regular. So just like millimeter, centimeter, picometer, all that. This is in milligauss.
I thought you were going to say it starts with milli and ends with vanilli.
Okay. So, these are just the higher end equipment that you could kind of add onto your collection if you want to.
How much
Now,
is a millimeter? I'm never going to say it right. How much is a millimeter, though?
Millimeter is about $360.
Okay. Cool.
But let's change the channel for a minute.
No, everyone stay on this channel. Keep listening.
I'm saying. Oh wait.
You could take simple, like, this is all good. This is all fun. But say you're just starting out and you got the chance to investigate somewhere or whatever. There's some little things you can do, like go buy a little bottle of baby powder and just sprinkle it around the floor. Give it a nice coating. Keep your recorder running or your camera if you have one. And if you hear footsteps, go back and check where that powder is. Because sometimes you will actually catch footprints in that powder.
Get out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Like, do you remember the old legend with the school bus? That the school bus got hit on the train tracks and
Hands on the back.
and people will go up now and stop their car in the middle of the railroad track and sprinkle powder on their bumper.
Yeah.
And then they'll go back and they'll check and it looks like little handprints on their car.
There's actually a place on Long Island that I did that at, where under a tunnel, supposedly these kids died. I don't remember the true story because, grapevines at this point, you'd have to research to find out what the actual truth was. But it's somewhere in Nassau, and literally you have to have your car facing on one side of the street. You put it in neutral and you ask the kids to push the car, and literally the car will roll. I did it in the wrong side of the road, freaked everybody else that was waiting out. And then you hear all these little giggles, and somebody in the backseat got their hair pulled. And I was like, now that's not nice. Now, can you push my car backwards? First time ever anybody asked that, I guess, because you hear all these like, and then my car rolls backwards. There's a car waiting behind, goes, yo, what the fuck? Somebody get the film. Somebody should check that out. Maybe I'll have to go back there and bring you guys. That'd be cool.
We had one of those roads in our state. We used to go up when I was in high school. It was nicknamed Gravity Hill.
Yep.
Okay.
And we would, that's back when I used to indulge in adult beverages. But we used to take our empty beer cans and lay them at the bottom, and they would roll uphill.
Yep.
But
there's a whole cabin, right?
It was investigated by, I forget who, like some sort of scientist or whatever, and it's actually an optical illusion. They're not really rolling up.
Actually meter it. It looks to your eye this way,
but it's
actually very opposite, and it's actually an uphill downhill incline.
But we used to do the same thing. We'd sit at the bottom, put our car in neutral, and drift uphill.
Yeah, it looks like you're going uphill.
Isn't there like a whole attraction? Is it the same area? There's an attraction where there's like a cabin and a bridge and stuff where people go and watch stuff happen.
Do you mean Jason Voorhees camp?
I know where you're talking about because
I think it's California.
Ghost Adventures crew went there and investigated.
Okay.
Where are you talking about? I forget the name though.
And I think with mine, I'm not sure if it really is kids or not. Because, like, just because I heard that stuff, it could also be, you know, from hearing the legends and all that stuff. It could be like an energy thing with the way the tunnel is. Good fucking catch. But okay, so what is this piece of equipment in your hand now, David?
So this is called an SB11. You'll also hear of an SB7. What it is, if you look at the top, there's 2 channels. This is an AM/FM receiver. So what we'll do is we'll actually go to turn it on, and we'll put it. And what it'll do is,
Good Lord.
Yes, I love this one. They talk to you through this, right? They talk to you through this.
It was so loud. I fell out of my chair.
I know.
There's a lot of white noise in it, so it's really hard to hear it. But what happened is, and I'll turn this off now. As you're on an investigation, I actually put a speaker on it. And what'll happen is you'll ask a question, you'll go, "Hey, are you here?" And you'll hear, "Yes."
Yo! Yes! Fucking happened live on the show again.
Okay, we're gonna just put that down now.
Wait. That's it. I just have to say this, okay? So as this is going on, I don't know why, but this side of my body was very cold. Then you guys picked up another piece of equipment, and this shoulder was really cold. And you just got a yes?
It totally went off. Yep.
So it could go through the phone to you? My shit here?
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, and backwards, vice versa.
Lauren, I told you when you were on our show, I've actually have things here in my house that open cabinets. I've already told you about all that.
Yes.
I didn't expect them to interact in the show. And
okay. I thought it was this thing that's...
It could be your side being attracted to the conversation plus whatever on their side talking through, because I'm sure they're talking.
But
your side and their
what
side
the
talking.
fuck?
This is a theory, but we have a lot of electronics going on right now with these high-powered studio light and this and that.
Yeah, my computer's over here. I've got a monitor over here.
If something is here,
it may be picking up on the energy.
They can use the energy coming off of all this electronic crap to try to, you know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, like extra battery source. I thought you were going to say it could be them feeding off each other, but no, it's definitely because you asked, is it there? And it fucking answered because this motherfucking face could not hide that. The yes, no button. I love it.
This is one of my favorite toys. So a lot of people...
Hold on. Jess?
Yeah?
You need to say, I am shielded and protected. Remember what you're supposed to do.
I'm just like, how am I all of a... Okay, gotcha. Got it.
Okay. Sorry, now go back to what you're saying, David.
All right, so one of the other experiments you see on a lot of the ghost shows are the flashlights, the yes-no flashlights. Okay. So there's a theory in there that said that you turn them just barely on, and it makes it where the spirits can just either tap them or manipulate them, and they come on and off. There's also a lot of debunked theories in there that say because they're reverse on the heat as it heats up, it goes off. As it cools down, it goes on again.
Right.
Okay, fair enough. So what I did was for the world's largest ghost hunt, and I was the paranormal director of it, I bought this.
That's awesome.
Now what this is it's a yes-no box. So let me power it on. Hopefully my daughter has not killed out the batteries. What it does is as you get close to it, I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, you can see it. It's flashing.
Yeah.
It's
all right. So what'll happen is they don't even have to touch it. Now let me do this. If you notice it's going off, the reason why is it actually puts an EMF around it as well. So they just have to come close to it and they can say yes or no to it.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing.
But you don't even have to hit the buttons. It'll actually just go over the buttons and do it.
That's pretty cool.
Something is totally trying to talk to us.
I know. I'm concerned that this thing wants to communicate.
Don't be concerned.
And I don't know if it's something from your side trying to communicate or something from my side or both.
Definitely on your side with that shit, and hers is touching her and making her cold, which is
it's just annoying right now.
And I'm not going to have anything happen, no offense to you guys, because my spirit animal eats those things if it tries to come into the room.
Then who's that behind you?
That would be my spirit team. Dude, I can see myself in my camera, silly goose. Really? The horror director? That's Big Ben. He'll eat you through the camera. No, just go ahead.
Those are some of the just the little toys that we pull along. I also have an 8-camera DDR system, and I use a program called Well, my brain just stopped. It's called a
I saw
phasma.
that. Jess, did someone just grab you?
I don't know if it's my hair. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not even going to pay attention
All
anymore.
right,
But
I'm sorry, I'm listening. Go ahead. She totally was like that, and I had to make a comment. So go ahead, David. I'm listening again.
So I have a program on my computer that actually picks up radio waves called a phasma box.
Okay.
And it actually answer you directly. So I'm going to actually get this program going as we're talking.
Yes.
So and it'll take a few minutes to launch out.
It operates the same as like the spirit box, but it's like a spirit box on steroids, and you don't get all that white noise.
Static, yeah.
What it's said to do is it scans the frequencies, okay, but the spirit can draw from it to form words. Now, the what they say happens is if an energy comes around the device, it sets off the sensors in the computer, which allows it to form words using the database.
Ooh, I love that. And just so you know, if you guys are okay with it, instead of an hour, we can prolong it a little bit so we can keep talking about this stuff because we only have 10 minutes left otherwise. So if you guys are okay, we'll do another half an hour. We'll stop at around 9:30.
We're going to turn this on.
Okay. Just want to make sure we're just too.
All right. And if you listen, so whoever that is, tell me you're here. Say hello. All right. You're Beth?
Uh-huh. Do you know who Jess is?
Shut up.
Can you say Jess? Now, to show you, and hopefully I'll do this without breaking things.
Hi, Beth.
This is the program I'm using right now.
So we have Beth in your house. Yeah. Who else is in the house with David and Ernie over there? Can you tell us?
Tell us your name.
Don't want to.
Don't want to.
That's okay. I understand that. You want to tell us anything? Because this is your chance. I'm listening if you'd like to tell us something.
You're being broadcast all around the world. And I'm stuck?
How many people are here? A 7-year-old. A 7-year-old?
I thought he said several.
No, he said a 7-year-old.
Oh, but it was a male voice that said a 7-year-old. It sounded like. Are you faking with them?
And their family.
There you go. Okay.
Did you used to live here?
The funny part is the guy I bought the house from actually had a 7-year-old that did pass away.
Wow.
Is this the gentleman I bought the house from?
Remember
What did he say?
Remember me.
Remember me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was a wrestling coach, and he passed away shortly after I bought the house.
Impressive lemonade. What?
Impressive lemonade? Is that what he said?
Yeah. What is your name? Tell us who you are.
I thought I heard the name Paul. Again, I said Paul.
Are you happy being in that house?
Is your daughter here with you?
She's
something. I couldn't. He said she's, and I couldn't make out the second word.
She's awesome here, or something to that effect.
How many of you are here?
Depends on what she said.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and kill that. So these are some of the little things that we have along the way.
You're being so nonchalant about just having a fucking conversation with at least 2 ghost chests, and they're just stopping it mid-conversation. You're like,
Yes.
he's like, we'll just stop it here, probably, because they just got slightly freaked out.
The The funniest thing is when we were hosting the event with at the haunted trails, and something attached itself.
God.
We believe something attached itself to Dave.
Oh God!
And he started getting sick.
Well, wait. All right, let's back this up a little bit. I'm downstairs with SOS Teen Paranormal Camp in a basement where people keep saying that they sense things down there, and there's possible bodies that are hidden in certain places.
Okay.
I am not a sensitive. I'm not a psychic medium. I'm none of that. I'm a paranormal investigator. So I'm sitting there, and one of the girls, she is, her name's Callista. We call her Fainting Goat because if you go, yeah, near her, she goes, nah. Love her to death. But she has ability. Well, we're in the dark. She sits down and kind of leans against my knees. Well, all of a sudden, behind me, I hear, hey, Dave. I'm like, what? Nothing there. And then I hear,
ew.
I'm like, and I keep hearing this like somebody's whispering in my ear.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who's screwing with me? And I'm actually taking a flashlight. There's nobody there.
I believe
So
it.
one of the other girls, as Callista is leaning there, goes walking back, and I hear, we're getting close. You're getting close. You're getting close. So the girl was standing on it, and it's like under here. And I'm like, oh, no. And it was kind of creeping me out. All of a sudden, I started getting like, I felt like I was in mud. That's the only part. Like I was having problems breathing. I was breathing in mud. And so I'm like, guys, I can't breathe. I got to get out of here. So I went to stand up, and I got lightheaded. And there's a back door behind me, and it's like one of those open up barn things.
Like you go down in the ground.
Right. Like
Dormer drain doors, yeah.
So I'm trying to get outside, and it felt like something's like a rubber band's doing this to me. And I'm trying to get out. And I finally get out, and this is where he comes in.
Somebody runs over to me and says, hey, Ernie, get over to the basement. Dave's sick. So as I run over to the basement, he's running out, vomiting, and someone's running beside him like this, filming.
Dave, you okay? Facebook Live. Good, okay. I'm fine.
I would have puked and punched at the same point and threw the phone in the puke. I am not. Do not photograph me doing that. No.
He's bent over, vomiting all over the place, and this person's like
in my face. Dave, you okay? I'm like, yeah.
That's gross. I still can't believe how nonchalant they are. Jess, we literally just had stuff happen on our show.
I know, that's so cool.
And they're just like, we're going to turn this off.
And I'm not cold anymore. So
it's because they stopped it. It's because they stopped
I'll give you the dumbed down version, but we were interviewing Josh Hurd on our radio show one night, and we heard this loud bang upstairs. Well,
it sounded like somebody kicked in my front door.
He thought somebody kicked the door in, and when he went upstairs.
Now to make it clear, I get my daughter every other week. All right, she's 14. She was not here. It was me, Ernie, my dog, and my cat. My dog was sitting right down here. The cat was over there on the table.
He went upstairs.
Sorry, John wrote, I would so film you doing that. John McInnes would so film you puking, David. Just thought I should throw that in there. He did hard hands for you, John. Okay, continue.
But while we were live interviewing Josh, we heard this noise, and it was actually right in the beginning of the show.
Yep.
Dave ran up to make sure someone didn't kick his door, and all his cabinet doors were open in the kitchen.
Yep. Now we knew something had been going on here. We actually set up a camera before the show because I kept having all my kitchen cabinet doors open. So I came down for the show. Ernie set up the camera. He looked around in my kitchen to make sure everything's clear. Turned around, hit record on the recorder, and came down. During 3 minutes into the show, boom! I go running, and you hear me from upstairs going, "Ernie, the cabinet doors are open again." I swore I was so happy. I thought we finally got it on camera.
Right.
Apparently, by the time he looked at the cabinet, saw they were closed, turned around and hit record.
They opened while my back was to them.
They opened.
They're quick and smart. They're wicked
now,
smart.
I was
Wicked smart.
A few months ago, I was asked by another team to be a special guest at their event, and we were at Fort Mifflin, and Dave was here at home.
I couldn't make it because my daughter.
So I had called Dave on video call, And when he answered his phone, he was standing in the kitchen. So he gets to talking to me. Well, twice, myself and the investigator that was with me, we heard what sounded like a woman talking. Because I said to Dave, Dave, who's at your house? Because I knew his daughter didn't come till the next day.
It was actually way later that night.
And Dave says, "There's no one here.
There's no one here."
Well, we heard her talking twice. So,
and I showed him the TV.
Dave being Dave, he had to take me on a virtual tour of his house to show me under the bed and in the closet. And well, when he goes back to the kitchen where he originally started, he was standing like this talking to me.
Went back to the
he didn't know it, but behind him the cabinets were open.
Oh,
and
shit.
I was like, Dave, turn around.
I'm like, so I
good.
finally said, to hell with this. He's talked me into it. Dave, you got to set up cameras. So I pointed one into my kitchen, and I pointed one this way so you could see that there's nobody behind it. And the way it is you take a left into my kitchen, big kitchen, but you come out, there's a sliding glass door right here, and then it all comes this way to my dining room, living room, and then that way down the house, back to the bedrooms, the bathrooms, etc. So I put one this way, and I put one this way. So what's behind this is a wall pointing into the kitchen. This one is filming the sliding glass door and the camera. So I must have been filming, about an hour? I had to potty. I get up, walk back to the back. I'm in the potty, and like 2 minutes in, doors open on camera. Got it on camera. And so people saw a shadow, and I debunked that. That was actually me right before it, walking across camera 2, because it has a light. Right. And you see me on the wall, but camera 1 camera 2 caught a shadow. That was me. Debunked that. Can't debunk. So I actually had Ted Van Son and one of his people come, who's actually the sponsor of WLFEDB Radio.
Sweetheart. Sweetheart.
I wanted him to try to debunk it. So, if you try fishing lines, if you try spring-loaded, the way it is, I have very, very solid cherry wood cabinets.
Right.
And the cabinet sits this way and came out this way. The camera is pointing this way at it. So it came towards the camera. There's a wall behind it. So if it was spring-loaded or something like that, and you see me in it, as soon as I notice it, I grab the camera and I actually look into the cabinet and go like this into the cabinet. It's my trash cabinet.
And see, if you're trying to pull a hoax and using like fishing line or something, the camera 9 times out of 10 is going to reflect it.
Right.
No matter
Don't
how.
Tell them that. Let them get caught.
Yeah.
Let them get caught. Don't tell them that.
The other thing is, because you see where I go on camera, the cabinet door opened this way. I would have been this way, that way.
Right.
So there's no way to pull around the house.
Right. So what are you going to do about the ghosts in your room right now? Can we go back to, like, what's your next step? Like, are you going to just hit record and leave it all the time? Like,
I just let them hang. They don't cause me any issue.
Oh, no, I'm not meaning, like, get rid of them. I would just, like, try to have a conversation all the time. I guess. I don't know.
The funny part is my daughter's here this week. Her friend is actually spending the night with her, who's a couple months younger than her. I actually bought them their own REM pod and K2, and they come down into my basement and investigate all the time.
Oh my
God. That's
God.
awesome. That's badass. Start them young.
Right.
The cat is following her. She has a cat that passed named Ono. Aww. So anytime she talks to the cat, the REM pod starts going off.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's sweet.
I know my grandfather's here. I know my grandmother's here. And I actually had to use Dragon Breath Sage. My father, who bailed out when I was 2, who there was a whole bunch of issues there, I've actually blocked him from the house.
Okay, very cool. It's a good stuff to use. Good stuff.
Yep.
Good stuff.
So, but yeah, so those are the fun things that we do for the private and public investigation.
And there's like I don't know what made me think of it, but cameras. Like we have so many different have so many different type of cameras, but one of my favorite that I use, it's called a full spectrum camera.
Okay.
It shoots pictures or video, but it takes the picture in all 3 light spectrums.
Okay. What does that mean for the newbies? Explain what that means to a newbie. Does that mean UV light also, like the purple light?
UV light, infrared, and regular camera.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that way we're all on the right page.
Right.
And infrared is like the nighttime with the colors of your body heat sense, right? Okay.
No, infrared. What that
Like
does?
the green thing?
Do you ever watch?
I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yes, it looks like a
Okay.
little mini version of the Ghostbusters
So
capture
the
box.
thing is, if we actually look at it, it looks like 4 really mellow red dots. You
Oh.
can barely see them when you look at them here, but a camera, you'll see what it does to it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, super bright, almost purple, white.
Yes.
The infrared, like
that's infrared.
even though we have stationary static cams that are filming during investigations, we still carry the handheld camcorders.
And this is the light for that.
Now, you know, my handheld camcorder has built-in infrared, and what that is, like I could film now, like we're filming. If we go complete darkness, and you've seen this on Bigfoot shows, ghost shows, they'll go complete darkness, then they throw the little switch, and then
It looks
in
like
the
black and white.
viewfinder, it looks like everything's black and white. That's infrared. That's how
infrared.
you're
the other
seeing
one,
it.
Oh.
that one, which is full spectrum, which is when you hear them go green and it looks greenish.
Oh,
Yes.
These are actually green lights.
yeah. Oh, cool. Oh, we
Hi,
have another
Tom.
person that says hello. Tom says, happy Tuesday, everyone. I'm on my break at the moment. Just stopping by to say hi. Thank you, Tom.
Hi.
Make sure you share this video everywhere. And you're going to have to rewind it because anybody just joined in, you missed actual ghosts talking.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, my brain is still exploding from that.
Yes.
So, time for joining. These two down there are so used to it. They were like, we'll stop this and move on.
Yeah,
So make sure you rewatch from the beginning once we're over because you'll love it. All right.
It
So
has-
you have to get that little light and put it on your camera so that you can take pictures of ghosts.
Our handheld camcorders have it built in.
and usually they're about $250 plus dollars.
Or you mean like a Canon or a Nike? I said Nike like the shoe.
We use the small handheld camcorders,
Right.
and it just has a button and it throws it right into night vision.
But
Oh,
if you get the poor man's version, these are $39.95.
What would I look that up as?
These are just infrared / full spectrum lighting.
Cool. Okay.
So, and then what it is if you look at the bottom here, there's a little square.
Yeah.
They actually sell these little bars that you can actually slide your camera onto, and then a secondary for your lenses. I actually have another square infrared that I could slide this onto, so I can actually use multiple lenses.
Oh,
multiple
nice. Very cool. Just huge leg of stuff. Just thought that
If you decide to go the battery route or the different equipment route, batteries, and batteries. I buy them in literally carpenter's packs.
Wow.
So when you go, I usually go through on an investigation probably about 4, 5, 9 volts per, and probably about 10 to 12 double A's, depending on what.
Ghosts like energy and they eat it like soup.
Absolutely.
I had that happen when we were at the investigation, whatever, of that psych ward that time. Literally everything died, but I have one of those Go Yeti packs where you could literally so I have one of those where you plug in the thing that charges the batteries,
Yep.
and we're just standing in the hallway with the thing going, okay, if we leave it plugged in, because there's one of those, you have the wires as well. So I'm like, if we just plug it in and walk, I'll go like this.
I have like 4 of them. So, and then we use things like we actually have a drone that has infrared at full spectrum.
Wow.
So we tend to carry a lot of equipment depending on what we're doing.
Sounds exhausting. All on their backs, folks. All.
No,
Okay.
my back. He watched. No.
Okay, here's my question. So if I wanted to investigate a place, let's say this psych ward, am I allowed to just do that? Like, how do you guys investigate someplace and not get in trouble? Like, how do we do this safely so that I don't have people listen to this and then suddenly get arrested because Loren didn't give them the advice about don't get arrested this way? That's my thought there. Let's save people from the ticket or the jail time.
All right. So most of these places have a place to control it, or a entity that will control a paranormal field there. So get in touch with the venue itself and say, hey, look, I'm interested. A lot of them, we call them pay to play. You pay them to come in and do it.
Okay.
Fort Mifflin is a wonderful place up in New Jersey. They are very, very, very inexpensive, and it actually, all the proceeds go to keeping the site alive.
Oh, nice.
There's
Selma House, right? Selma House? Is that another one?
Selma House. the Sam Miller Mansion in Columbia, Pennsylvania. So there's a lot of venues, and you can ask them, where do the proceeds go? And usually it'll go to the Preservation Foundation that runs the place.
So you shouldn't just go to some randomly abandoned place and start just doing an overnighter.
No, those are called 30-minute challenges. You'll find them on YouTube and enjoy them there because you can get hurt. Also, don't go in and provoke. I'm going to tell you flat out. These wonderful shows where you go, you show me something or else. You know what? You're going to get hurt. Think about this for a minute. You own a house and you die in that house. You don't know you've died. That's still your house. Now, these buttheads come in and they take over your house. You're going to be mad at them to begin with.
It's like Beetlejuice.
And now all of a sudden they're coming in going, what are you doing? You're going to be like, I'm going to knock you out.
Could you imagine me as a ghost? Oh, good Lord, for the motherfucker that's got the house with me. I know. That's what I first thought when you said that. I'm like, I'd kill some bitches. I'd be that poltergeist. Go into the light so I can eat you. Sorry.
Yeah. Depending, I mean, it doesn't matter. You know, I don't care if you go to a axe murderer's house and you think you've, established communication with an axe murderer. My whole philosophy on the thing is, we're all born innocent. And I feel that no matter what path you chose in life, when you pass away, you're back to that innocence, your soul. So regardless of who you think you're talking to, never provoke and always show respect.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You don't go in, like Dave said, I love being home. I have my house set up that if I go completely insane, I can stay home and I have everything I need. So if I die there, who has the right to come in and threaten me and challenge me and dare me when I'm in my happy place?
Right. Just make sure the body faces the right direction and you don't get in trouble. Always facing in.
Make sure you use enough in the wall,
Vinegar, folks. Wait, vinegar. Anyway, let's move on to those non-illegal moments of how to clean up lead spatter. So if I just want to go to some abandoned location, I shouldn't just park my car somewhere super far away and then just think I'm not going to get in trouble, right? Like cops will arrest
that is
me.
a good way not only to get arrested, but it's also a good way to get hurt because you go into that wonderful abandoned place and you fall through a floor. Who's going to come rescue you?
Yeah.
We had a guest on last week, the Dylan guy, Dylan Rivas. He said one of the first times he went, that was what happened. He got stuck in a flagpole. Literally, his leg got stuck. Anyway, I don't want to go back through that impasse. I was not happy. That's why I was like, we got to move past that. I can feel the pain. So I just wanted to make sure we talked about that part because I don't want to provoke people into thinking, because we keep seeing more and more abandoned places popping up on all their social medias, and I want to do the same thing, and it's kind of cool seeing the pictures. I just don't want us not to put that out there. You can get arrested, you can get very hurt, and for women, depending on build structure and self-defense levels, if you go by yourself, once if there's a vagrant in that place and they're insane, now it's you against that dude, female, whatever. I've had those instances where I've gone into a place and the person is like, this is my home, but they're not an apparition. This insane homeless person might kill me.
I am more
territory in a little bear,
I am of ghosts.
Yeah.
Real people can hurt you.
You want to hear a quick funny story? Talking about going places like that.
Yeah.
Dave had his first real good paranormal experience in the early to mid 80s. And me being a researcher in this since childhood, before investigating was even a thing, some friends of mine in 1999 asked me if I wanted to go on an investigation. They were going ghost hunting and knew that I was into all the spirituality. Would I want to go with them? So I went on my first investigation in 1999. Now, when Dave and I met, come to find out, my first paranormal experience out investigating, deliberately, was at the same location he was a few years earlier.
That's fucking cool.
Isn't it? It's kind of like a fate thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
and a few months ago, we posted some photos of Dave and I on our motorcycles, and we were by a wall with graffiti, and we went back to that place. That's where we were. So it's just weird that
full circle.
I've had encounters, since age 11, but I never actually went out, hoping to find a ghost, until I went on my first investigation in 99. and it happened to be the same place he went.
And the funny part is, the people I went there with, we weren't there for a paranormal experience. We were there as kids just trying to explore places that you shouldn't be. And it turned very paranormal very quickly.
Yeah.
Most of the time you would be surprised. And, you know, I don't talk a lot about being a cop, but you would be surprised. Like a lot of my coworkers, they're kind of scared of this stuff, but you'll be surprised that, you know, a cop will be responding to a call, and next thing you know, they're coming over the radio asking me if I'm available to come across town and meet them there.
There's things floating in the air. Yeah, can you come help out?
I mean,
That's awesome.
I've had things at work happen that I can't explain, like while I'm working, you know.
That dude that disappeared right in front of you.
And which one?
The one where you were at the car and he went around.
You said which one, Jess? Not that it happened once. It meant it happened more than once. And which time was he talking about?
He was at his car. He was looking at a guy walk down the sidewalk. He went behind a bush like that and didn't come out.
Oh, the guy. Now, this is funny because I have a friend of mine. He, everyone that knows me knows I'm strict Roman Catholic, and my friend at work was raised Catholic, but over the years he's what do you call it? Don't believe in God. He's atheist. So we were sitting in a parking lot one night.
Agnostic.
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, I just know he don't believe in God anymore for whatever reason.
Okay.
So we were parked like this, talking to each other, and he said, "Hey, look, don't make it obvious, but there's a guy standing across the parking lot staring at us."
Ooh.
So it's like 3 or 4 in the morning, and this is a true story. So I look over, and there's a guy standing there staring at us, like maybe 200 feet away. Well, he starts very slowly walking toward us, and he gets all the way to the front of my police car, and he starts mumbling something, but we can't understand him. And my buddy says to me, he's like, "What do you want to do with him?" I said, "Let him just see what he does." Well, he gets frustrated, turns around, he walks out to the sidewalk, and my buddy's like, "Come on, man, let's go grab him up, see what he's up to." I said, "He might be waiting for the bus. Just let's see what he does." Well, no buses are running that time of night.
3 o'clock at night.
So eventually he stands back up. He's walking down the sidewalk. There's a bush. How big is this table?
About 6, 7 foot.
There's a bush about 6 feet wide that, you know, we're looking at the sidewalk. We see this bush. This guy's walking down the sidewalk, goes in front of the bush, but never comes out on the other side.
Fucking A. I love it.
So we're like, oh, hell no. He's ducking us out.
Right.
So we get out of our cars, get our flashlights. We're looking. We don't know where this guy went. Now, there's an adjacent street, and it's right by a firehouse. And a car was sitting at the red light. So we went up and actually asked the guy at the red light, "Hey, did you see somebody walk by?" We stood in the middle of the street and looked. We stood in the middle of the street, looked all the way down the road.
Nobody.
To this day, we don't know where the hell this guy went.
Fell through the sidewalk.
Now, I'm not saying it was a ghost or what, but what I'm saying is this man walked in front of us. The bush blocked our vision just on a sidewalk, like a residential sidewalk.
Yeah.
We never came out the other side.
The fact he came all the way to your car was mumbling, like you could hear almost mumbles, and then like that whole.
Maybe he's interdimensional. He just walked right into your reality and
probably
right
an
back
addict
into his.
that died, and he's still doing his recurring path.
It's funny because my friend, he doesn't believe in any of this, and he was like really shooken up, and I was loving it because I mean it didn't faze me. He was really shooken up, and I was like,
I love when they get freaked out. I'm such an evil bitch like that. Like I'm like, ha ha ha. I'm just. You know,
oh no! Okay, wait. All right, you like freak out stories? I got a freak out story.
I love them.
All right, we're at Haldeman Mansion. All right, we are split of our groups in 2 separate places. I take a group up to the 2nd floor to a well-known spirit there. His name's Jacob. And this guy says to me, "I know that this is bullshit. I know that your equipment's rigged." I said, "Only reason why I'm here is because my wife really digs this stuff. But don't try to convince me anything. I know it's bullshit." That was his exact word. I said, "Okay." I said, "Look, the paranormal investigator, I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm going to promise you one thing by the end of the night. I'm not here to show you a ghost. I'm going to show you something in this place you cannot explain. At the end of the night, I'm going to come to you and I'm going to ask you, did I fulfill that promise? So he has this Coleman lantern that has one of those turn-on switches on the top. We go up to Jacob's room. He breaks off to the left. I break off to the right in the room, and it's a pretty big room. And there's 2 windows here. He goes to the left window, puts his lantern down in the window, and turns it off. I set all my equipment up, including my yes-no lights, including my yes-no box, everything up. I'm like, Jacob, Mr. Dave, how you been, buddy? Long time no see. What you been up to? I know it's been a long winter. I've missed you. By the way, that guy doesn't believe you're here.
I love that.
Over here, and can you turn on one of these lights for me and show me and show him?
Well, Dave had he was doing the flashlight experiment where you take a handheld flashlight, you turn it on, and then you take the tip and you turn it just to the point where it goes off. So if something touches it, it lights up.
We covered that when you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we already covered that. But I had 2 of them up. Well, I was fully expecting one of my lights to come on. His light came on.
The lantern.
The lantern.
Yes.
Oh, snap.
He had to turn it on top, and the guy went,
Oh,
Yes.
that's great.
I love those dudes.
he looked at me, and I'm like, he picks up the light, quietly walks out the door, walks
Yeah.
down the step, and I hear the front door slam.
Walk of
He's
shame.
Out.
I 15, 20 minutes later, after I'm done with the group, all right, guys, let's go take a break. Let me go find this clown and see what happened to him.
Yep.
I find him out in the parking lot by this big old Ford pickup. I'm like, are you okay? And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm okay. I'm like, okay, I'm going to ask you, just like I promised you earlier, did you see anything that you can't explain tonight? He's like, oh, absolutely. Yep. Like, would you like to come back and join us? He goes, no, I'm okay. I'm like, why not? Because that fucking place wanted.
Yes.
Yep.
That's
I love
awesome.
those dudes.
I hit the ground peeing myself laughing.
I love those dudes. Like, you can't hang out with them, you can't be friends with them, but like, yes, please let me make you have that reaction.
Right.
Hey, Loren, I know you got a kick out of us running equipment and stuff tonight, but check this out. Our next radio show is on Sunday, and we're going to be broadcasting live from DeVille Inc.
Tony DeVille.
And Dave and I actually investigated his tattoo shop. So we're going live from there. Nice. So you might, if you have the time, you might want to check it out.
Yep,
Yeah, absolutely. So it's Sunday, what time?
7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you check us out on Step Into the Paranormal on Facebook, it'll have all the information you need there.
Perfect. I'm excited. So you're gonna bring your little pencils and your yes/no circle?
No, we're just gonna do our regular radio show interview,
but we are going to say when we're actually going to schedule the investigation. So we're going to make the announcement then.
Excellent.
I'm excited. I want to just be like, I'll be in the back pocket of one of you, like a little kangaroo for the investigation, and I'll just hold.
Where's Loren's hand, and why is Ernie smiling?
Because never mind, bad joke. Oh no, not the rosebuds. Moving on. Oh, Ernie's so unhappy with that joke. Oh, I love cackling. It's such good.
I get embarrassed easy. That's
Oh.
I was thinking more like a little baby kangaroo in the back pocket, fucking with David, like a little feather at the back of his head. So he's just keep being like, you're like, why is Ernie smiling? Because you can't see the feather. Fucking with it.
Hey, anyone watching or listening, if you're on Facebook, look up Paranormal Inc. and send me a request, because we put not just us. I mean, you post things on there as well, but anything going on in the paranormal or the horror world or whatever, it's just a way for everybody to stay in communication and contact and advertise your stuff and show us your evidence. And
it is a closed group for a reason.
Yeah.
But we ask you that way because there's a lot of the people that are coming on Facebook to spam people, and you can tell they're brand new, they have no profile, and they want all sudden in to everybody. Yeah, no, we don't need you posting booty shots up there. If you want,
it's a private group so that you don't have the person going, message me privately and I'll tell you what your ancestors said about you. Stop
I'm
this.
so tired of that crap.
I
man.
literally just tagged the Puerto Rican witch because it wasn't your group, guys. I don't think so. It was some other group. And the person was like, wrote this whole long, they didn't have any kind of real name. The picture was bad. It was like, message me for a potion, spells this. And I wrote, Clarity, look at this shit, shaking my head. She's like, because like it's so constant, guys. If you have somebody message you, they don't know what they're talking about. It's all shyster shit.
Yeah.
Yes. And if they're trying to charge you, hear me again.
If they're contacting you, if they're asking you, if they're messaging you, these are fugazi bullshit people. Because the real motherfuckers don't need to contact you. You'll find them. Yep. That's how it really works.
Well,
watch out for those neon signs.
I keep the Paranormal Inc. page closed and private, upon request because of my job. I don't want somebody that's pissed off at me or whatever. I don't want them to see my friends or what we do or where we're at. So that's why, it's nothing. I just, I don't want to expose anyone.
God forbid somebody had a problem with you. The amount of people that could put them in a jar and shrink their heads by itself. You just have to give me a name. I have people.
He has two different personas. He has the Ernie, and then he has Ernie the cop.
Yes.
Well, that's like me. There's Loren, and then there's Lauren. And let me tell you, I'll get my little gun out and go bang, bang.
Just remember, guns don't kill people. Bullets do.
I love that routine. I love that routine. And it's not the bullets; it's just the sound they make. Bang, rat-tat-tat. It's that for everybody. Sorry, that's
like saying like, I didn't. It's not my fault. I got bad grades. It was the pencil that got me bad grades.
There's a whole routine Eddie Izzard does. He's a stand-up comedian and cross-dresser. Yeah. I think identifying
he went full blown now.
Yeah, so I just realized. I apologize. I just realized. So she has a great stand-up, Dress to Kill, and in that, just truly mocking the ridiculousness of the whole movement. It's like, it's not bullets to kill, it's a sound. Rat-tat-tat. It just gives you a heart attack and you get a little Anyway, of course she does it better. So Eddie Izzard, look her up. She's amazing. I love her to death. Not like I know her personally, but I've always thought she was very funny. Anyway, moving right along from Craziness of 101, is there anything before we wrap up that you would say a newbie needs to know? Like, when you're leaving one of these places, please, what is the quickest, easiest way that if something might be attached is an easy way to like make sure it doesn't come home with them? What have you learned to start doing?
We tell people, bless in, bless out. And as you're going out, there's an old New Orleans tradition is face the doorway as you're backing out through it. As you're walking backwards to the doorway, tell what the entity, you're not welcome to follow me. I've had fun, but you stay here. You can't follow me. You can't attach to me. Leave me alone. And I thank you humbly. Wow. And back out. And I learned that in New Orleans when I was down there.
And I this is going off track a little bit, but this is just a personal opinion. If you go in showing respect and you investigate respectfully, and if you come across a EVP burst and you get a response or whatever, just thank the spirit.
Thank them.
Just be kind.
Yep.
And
another person, right? It's just like speaking to another person. Be respectful, speak to
you're speaking to a person that doesn't have a body. And if you just show common decency and courtesy and respect, chances are nothing's going to attach or follow you. Not saying it can't happen, but it's not likely.
Well, if the comparison is sticking around where there's no energy or following a delicious light source like a moth, we do know that they like to rather follow the source of food versus I'll stay here and possibly starve. So I understand what you're saying, but I also don't want to let anybody go, okay, because then we have a lot of people with scratches and things that we don't like.
And never, I don't care who you think you're dealing with, because we're not that advanced in the field. And when I say we, I mean investigators, to 100% confirm who we're dealing with.
Yes.
But never, ever invite whoever you're contacting to, you can use my energy.
It may not be it may not be Grandpa.
Yeah, don't ever do that.
That was like earlier when we heard the voice and the guys adult voice said a 7-year-old. I was like, but it didn't sound like a 7-year-old. I was telling Jess in a previous show that my mom and I were both standing outside in our garage, just going back billions, folks. And literally, we both heard someone cry, "Help me!" Except I heard a child's voice. She heard an older woman's voice. I pulled her into the house because it felt wrong. I locked the door and I'm like, "What did you hear?" And she's like, "It sounded like an old woman. We have to save her." I'm like, "Stop that." I'm like, I sounded like a child to me. So what that means, it's a shyster, no matter what else it is. We locked the door and I said, "No, you're not allowed in my house. Fuck off." So
A lot of times,
we're about to end the show though. So we're wrapping up, just so you know.
a lot of times, you know, something might pose as a child to gain your trust or your acceptance so that it can make its way in.
Yep.
Or whatever you're most compassionate to. Like my mom was worried because my nana had just passed, so the older woman would trigger her, where for me, I'm so used to taking care and protecting children that immediately a child's voice would normally trigger me. So whoever you are that's listening to this or watching, remember that if you have an affinity towards one type of person, they might try to use that as gaining an entrance. So don't just go, "Okay, no. All right, guys, this has been an amazing hour and a half. I'm going to end it here because I know everybody's getting a little tired. We're going to have you come back on the show more often because this was phenomenal. Thank you so much, guys. And Sunday, step into the paranormal with you two and Tony DeVille. Yeah, I'm going to have to check it out. Thank you, everybody. And until next week, stay safe. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye, everybody.